All right, another episode of Conversate After Dark. Tay, what's up with you?
Everything's great with me. What's going on with you?
It's all good here. Tell people where they can find us.
You can find us at Conversates After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD the podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Listen to our past episodes. Make sure you tell everybody about the show. So, Tay, let's start off with the icebreaker.
Okay. I'm gonna go with who's the biggest pervert? All
It's gonna be me.
right. Have you ever used bondage devices during sex?
No. I think we talked about this before. I don't fully trust anybody to allow them to tie me up. Um, there's one person who I've mentioned that if we start going like towards the BDSM, so it's bondage is that's part of BDSM, right?
Right.
There's one person who I feel like I would feel comfortable submitting to in that way, but for several reasons, we're probably never going to be able to carry through with that. So it means I probably never, get to experience that. I did buy some handcuffs one time from one of those sex toy websites or what have you, and they weren't built for big grown ass people. They just the person I was with wasn't really feeling using them. So I was like, well, damn, you can use them on me, but I'm big, 6'3", big as hell. They wasn't gonna fit around my wrist. I'd probably lose a hand if she was able to close it up on me. So I mean, I know there's other ways you can do it. You could tie people up and I've never really had like one of those old school headboards where you could really tie somebody up and restrain them. I guess you could get creative and find a way, but it's never worked. And my desire to do it isn't so strong that I would try to find a way to make it happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
What about you?
Um, I am like you. I don't trust most people, but I have used them on people. I think I have been tied up before, but it's been like maybe once or twice. But to get around the headboard thing, what I've done is you tie something around the foot of the bed.
That's what I figured. That's what I
Yeah,
figured.
and then just make it like use a tie or something, make it long enough to reach up to the bed.
So what about that enhances the experience?
It just gives from what I can gather, it's a way to restrain somebody so that they're not able to use like their hands if they want to touch you. It can, it can cause some I don't know what's the word I'm trying to look for. Uh Heightened awareness because
Yeah.
you can't move, you can't,
Activity. Yeah,
yeah.
I get it. I get it. See, my thing is, I guess I don't be like, there's one thing about lack of trust. Like, okay, because you see that stuff, people like they handcuff you, then the next thing you know, they leave you for hours or some shit like that, which I'd be ready to kill somebody over that. But my other piece too is like, what if she, play too much and start, trying to introduce some anal play, and I can't fight her off. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm restrained. And that's a fear of mine. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Okay. Well, one, I think that leaving people for hours, I don't think that's the norm. And then two, I think we talked about this before, but I believe that I know everybody I know who's in BDSM, they all believe in consent. So introducing something that you're not comfortable with would be a no-no. So you definitely need somebody who understands that.
I think there was some people who like to joke too much, and they better think they was playing and shit, and I'll really be mad because you just started tickling my booty hole, and I no, no, no. Cause like, and I think I probably like, where could you find some like cuffs that's like real deal? Cause like I know they sell them at those sex store websites. Like, do they sell them at those parties? Like those
Yes.
fashion parties where they have like, hey, everybody buy something or what have you. Do they sell them there?
Years ago, I used to be a consultant for one of those companies, and I did have a pair. That's how I was able to to use them.
So when you used to have those parties, was it just for ladies, or would y'all allow it to be co-ed?
The company that I was doing it for, it was strictly for females.
So you couldn't allow guys in there at all?
No.
How would they? I mean, how would they know you? But you've already said in previous episodes you're a rule follower. So
I am. And I mean, everybody that I know who's ever done it with well, at least two of the companies that I know of, they strict. I mean, people pretty much follow the rules. I do know a guy. I met a guy years ago. I met him through a friend, but he was saying he wanted to sell toys and none of the companies would allow him because he was a guy. So he started his own he started selling, like, like people who really grind, like selling them out of his trunk and stuff like that, that type of thing.
yeah,
But yeah, but now he actually has a store that's not too far from me. And it's been there for years. So I'm assuming, and I've seen a few in this area that have come and gone, and his store's still there. So I'm assuming he's doing good.
I know how so I can see how those companies want to limit it from guys being involved because the of the potential lawsuits and dudes being weird and things that go with that.
It's more so for the comfort of the women and women being able to express themselves without feeling judged, pretty much.
Yeah, but I feel that. I just know there's some guys like me who would probably have that shit popping, like know how to throw a nice little event and invite the right people. But you can
Mhm.
only do that so many times, right? Because there's only so many toys you can sell and everything. Would you go to an event where it was co-ed and they were selling sex toys? Would you be willing to participate in that?
I would.
Or would you feel like kind of laid, kind of reserved, like there's guys there and I don't want to be judged?
Well, I'm on a podcast where we talk about sex. So, and I've always been this way. I've never had an issue with talking about stuff. So, me in a situation like that, it wouldn't bother me. But I know that I won't say most, I know a lot of women aren't comfortable talking about sex actually in public at all, but they really get reserved when men are. So,
Does it bother you when dudes talk about sex in public?
it
Because
doesn't,
I have a
doesn't bother
friend
me.
and I have a friend who, well, like you said, you got a podcast and we talk about sex. But I have a friend that I won't say that she judged me, but she kind of judged me because I do have a podcast and we talk about sex, we talk about relationships, and I'm very open in talking about sex. And she's more reserved. And once she got past my willingness to just be willy-nilly about sex and everything, and she saw that there was more underneath, she's like, "Oh, well, you actually, you a cool guy." But you said women aren't comfortable really expressing themselves sexually around men. Do you think women judge men who are willing to talk about sex? I ain't talking about the dudes that's just like, trying to smash everybody, but the guys like me who joke and flirt and do things like that, is that judged by women?
Um, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure. I can't really say. I want to say women don't judge as harsh. I think it's more so like if you're talking about smashing all the women in the in the world, you will be judged. But I think most people would judge on that. But just talking about it in conversation, the only thing I've heard, you know, friends or other women talk about is if you're talking to a guy trying to get to know him and he brings up the subject like too soon or too much. But that's when you're trying to build a romantic or connection.
I can see that. So, this is another thing somebody said about me. I've heard the comment about you got a bunch of little fans or you got too many little friends. And I'm like, what's that about? Because I am single. So like on my social media, there's a lot of women who I interact with, but I'm not physical with them. We're not doing anything. But I guess because we may laugh about different things and they may laugh, I try to be lighthearted on my page, somewhat. They feel like you get too much attention from women, too many women laughing at your jokes and stuff like that. Um, do you see that being a problem with a guy that you would typically date?
That has been a problem before. Um,
You
well,
you don't like the jokey joke dude who everybody loves? You don't like that?
no, 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 not from me to them, from them to me. So I remember, and I only remember this now because I have an old email account that was just overrun with a bunch of it had, I had too much mail in there for the storage or whatever. So I had to start deleting stuff. So that meant, so I was going back through old emails and I don't know why I kept this, but I had an email chain from him where I sent him it was a sexual joke. And I think it was a joke about giving head or whatever. And he was like, why do you, and I mean, it was I like tagged other people, not, it wasn't tagging back then because we were emailing, but I had added a lot of people on the thread.
You know, me and the
And
thread
so,
and all that, yeah.
yeah. And so he was like, why do you know so many guys that would find this funny? Like, it was like he was trying to insinuate that they would think it's funny because I had done it to them. I'm like, it was a meme. We weren't even calling them that back then, but it was a joke.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't they think it's funny? Like, I couldn't understand that.
I mean, I think for people who have somewhat of an insecurity, some people just have a problem with folks communicating with the opposite sex when they're trying to make you quote unquote theirs. And I
Yeah.
think that may be an issue for some people, but
And he has
how do you
been
turn that down?
he's been the only guy that has had an issue with me having friends of the opposite sex.
Mm. Have you ever had an issue with a guy being friends with the opposite sex?
No. I go by vibes. If I feel like the vibe is cool, I'm cool.
I think I only have an issue if they've had a history. Cause there's some people who like, yeah, I used to go with him back when we was in college, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend. But now we just friends. Like he's moved on, and I moved on with you. And you know me, I'm Mister. If I hit it once, I can always hit it again. So that's the only time I'm really kind of like, and I I just don't know how comfortable I would be around somebody who's trying to move on with another person knowing that I hit. I may be cool because hell, I didn't hit it, right? That's on you to deal with. But I know how some guys are. So that would be the only type of friendship where I would have an issue. Because I know that most women, once they put a guy, in that friend category, it's because she doesn't necessarily see him in that way. So I'm not really threatened.
I can see that, but it doesn't bother me. Like I said, it depends on the vibe. If I have I feel like I pick up on vibes pretty good, for the most part. And usually you can tell if somebody likes the person you're with. And when I say like, I don't mean in a friendly way. I mean more than friends. I feel like you can tell. So I kind of go by that. And it hasn't steered me wrong yet.
How can you tell when a woman secretly likes a dude?
I don't know if it's something I can say tangible, but I'm sure you've been around guys who've been around your woman and that you may feel a certain way. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it.
I don't think I've ever been in that situation to be able to
Okay.
tell. Um, Something about like my gut is almost undefeated. And I was trying to say, like, God told me, God said, hey man, look into this a little bit. Pay
That's
attention
what
to
I'm talking about though.
pay attention to this. Yeah, but I don't think that I'm not that perceptive. Like you're saying that you're able to pick up on vibes. I'm not as perceptive as I think you're saying that you are. Like
Okay.
I'm the guy that totally miss a woman flirt with him. Like totally miss it. Like there's been two or three women who told me it's like, well, I was trying to get you some pussy,
No,
or
no, no. I don't mean it the opposite gender. I mean like you're like another guy. If another guy was, you could probably see it better than a woman could.
but that's what I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying
Okay.
like I'm so caught up in my own shit and laughing or whatever. It's really got to be blatant. Like somebody's got to be really acting stank or really just kind of over the top with the stuff that they're trying to do in order for me to pick up on it. But if somebody is more subtle and more sneaky with their stuff, it may take me longer to pick up on it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I get that because I can pick up, even if I'm not involved in the situation, I can pick up when two people are in the room and they got eyes for each other and nobody else in the room picks it up. I can usually sense that type of stuff too. I've picked up
That's
on a lot
because
of things.
you the ear hustler on the podcast.
It's not like I said, it's not even about listening. It's
I
about
know, but
observing.
because you have the potential to be quiet and to kind of just become part of the background, you probably see those things. Whereas a person like me who's loud and talking and waka 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 and all that shit, I'm probably missing that type of stuff. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But to me, we talked about the sex parties being co-ed. And I think like things like that, man, would probably be more alive. Like I remember a guy that I know had a bachelor party and we invited some, homegirls of ours to attend, and they were the MVPs because they had that shit popping. Cause they were having a good time with the strippers and they ended up exchanging numbers. I don't know if they became friends or whatever, but they was enjoying getting lap dances, and it was just more like it was a nice vibe because they were there because it was I've been to bachelor parties, been to a ton of them, right? And they're fun. But when you add that piece of the opposite sex there who's keeping their clothes on if they want to, it definitely makes it more fun. Now I don't know how many women are actually down with that because we had this harebrained scream. We was like, we're gonna fight and invite a bunch of girls we know to be there too. And some were like, nah, we ain't really down being around strippers and all of that. But the ones that came, listen, they were the MVPs because we had a great time at that bachelor party.
Yeah, I believe it. I recently went to one. And it's funny because when I told my mother where I was going, and then the next day I was talking to some other family members and I was like, yeah, I just got back in town. I went to a bachelor party. And everybody was like, what? Like, yeah, I have friends of the opposite sex. They're getting married. They added me to the invite list. And I'm actually invited to another one. I don't know when. I have to find out when his is, but I was invited to another one. I'll probably go to his too.
So how was it? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was really fun. But the crew that I was with, we've bonded. We've had over the years. We've had fun over the years. We've hung out over the years. The strip club we went to is one that we've partied at many, many times. So it was different. So, and I wasn't the only woman there. It was a few of us in with the mix.
So have you been to do they call them bachelorette parties or bridal showers?
It's usually bridal showers when it's the little stuffy ones in the house with the gifts and the games. And then the bachelorette party is usually when they go out on the town and bar hop and all that stuff.
So bachelorette parties, y'all, is it typical for women to have strippers?
It depends on the woman. The last one I went to, we did go to a strip club. But I don't know. I prefer female strippers over male strippers.
Most, most women do because male strippers have a vibe where, and I know some guys that are male strippers. Male strippers have like a vibe that a lot of women that I talk to, they kind of question if they're fluid with their sexuality because of this, like how they dance and the outfits that they wear. And it's not as attractive to most women as a lot of people would like to think.
Yeah, I mean, being in the environment was fun because everybody was, yelling for the strippers, and that part was fun. But the what was fun for me was just being around my friends. But the actual strippers, they were okay, and there were some who could really dance, but I don't know. I prefer the female strippers.
Also, there were male strippers at this spot.
I'm talking about no, I'm talking about at my talking about the bachelorette party versus the bachelor party
Tell you what, if I told you I actually hired a male stripper one time?
for some women, right?
Yeah. So I was young and in love. I was with my ex-wife, and her friend at the time was about to get married. This is a funny story. And we were in our late 20s when this was going on. So like 28, 27, right? And at the time, she worked a job where she couldn't be on the phone. She was working at a call center. So she asked me to call this, I guess, this agency to hire a stripper for her best friend's bachelorette party. So I was like, "Dude, I don't recall hiring no damn male stripper." She's like, "Will you please just do it for me? Just call and negotiate it." So I was like, "All right." So I call and this white lady answers. She's running the agency, and we're talking. And I was like, "Hey, listen, these are black women, so I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but you have somebody." She was like, "Oh no, it's not a problem." She was like, "We have Cowboy Larry, and Cowboy Larry, the women love him. He's real muscular and he's very popular with the ladies, right?" So I said, "Bet, send Cowboy Larry over there." Man, they had that bachelorette party. They came back and they were so mad at me. Cowboy Larry, remember I told you we was in our late 20s. Cowboy Larry was in his mid 40s. Yeah, he had a little muscles, but he also had a gut at the same time. And what ended up happening is the young women was so like not was turned off by Cowboy Larry, but the aunties who was our age was having a fucking blast with Cowboy Larry.
I bet
So
they were.
And so she had pictures of it, and I got so much storage of pictures. So she like took pictures, and I was like, "Yeah, this dude do look kind of sloppy." But that's what you get when you ask your boyfriend to hire the male stripper for you. Because I wasn't going to ask for no pictures. Like, send me pictures of Cowboy Larry so I can see if he's going. Nah, all right, he's black, he got muscles. Send him.
Yeah, she should have asked somebody else to do that.
Definitely, definitely should have did that. But yeah, I mean, I'll do the co-ed thing. I'm not really about the co-ed baby showers or anything like that. To me, that's kind of cornball. I'm all about keeping guys divided. I mean, I know it's a positive thing, but that's probably the limit of what I need to be involved in. Like, if we're gonna do like a co-ed bachelor party, um, now I probably wouldn't appreciate it. It wouldn't really be that way if the shoe was on the other foot. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, keep it to the bachelor parties. I'll just put it like that.
Okay, I don't see the issue with the baby showers either, because it's the guys' baby too. I do think some things should change for the baby showers because it's a lot of I don't know how I want to word this. It's a lot of foo-foo stuff that goes on at traditional baby showers that I don't think
That's what I'm saying.
cater to men.
Yeah,
So I think if some of the things that happen could be changed, I think for a baby shower because it's baby made by two, by both of them, I think that's fine.
that's your baby. That's your baby, dude. You gonna be there and laugh and play them little stupid ass games, and then you just send us the damn baby shower registry.
Oh Lord. What
That's,
about the uncles, the godfathers, like the
I mean, maybe that, but don't ask your homeboys to come do that shit. No.
oh my gosh. And my cousins, like so many of his friends came through. It
I mean,
just shows the love they have for.
yeah, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it ain't. I would go if I'm with somebody and she's like, "Hey, you come to the baby shower." I would go, but it's not gonna be my favorite. You're gonna really have to twist my arm. Like, we're gonna have to be like, "Hey, listen, we leaving early. We're gonna go somewhere and have dinner afterwards. We're gonna hang out afterwards." That type of deal. For me to really, want to tag along for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because have you ever traveled for a bachelor party?
For basketball, no.
No, like travel out the country.
No, no, no. I've never done that. I don't know if I would. I mean, this may be wrong to say, but I do feel like a lot of men uh travel for outside activities. I don't want to be involved in none of that. So
Uh,
if you traveling for a bachelor party, yeah, you can keep it all male. I'm good with that.
so
Hit me up when you come back. I'll buy you a drink at the bar.
I say I feel you on that. Cause like if you travel with the crew, then it turns to like, okay, you ain't just, you fucking one of them too, or you can see how that would look a
Yeah.
little suspicious. But shout out to Angel. Angel said, "Hey, how are you?" Hey, Angel. Taz said, "Stop by, drop by, and then leave." Yeah, exactly. We ain't hanging out for at the bachelor party, at the baby shower. I mean, so I say when I got married, I had two bachelor parties. We went to Vegas on a fellas trip, and then we had another one the night before the wedding. I do know guys that travel out the country. Some dudes, I think when they travel out the country, definitely they was because you remember back in the day, it was like you going to the Dominican or to Brazil. Some guys was going for the extracurricular. Um, but the guys that I know, we try to keep it domestic because I think the connotation of you going out of the country, especially now that the whole passport bros has become a thing,
Mhm.
when I was out the country, it automatically looks like you going out to try to pay for sex.
Yes, it does. And that's why I say I don't want to be involved in any of that. If that's what you're doing, that's your bachelor party, go do that. I'm cool with the strippers, but if you try to take it an extra step, I'm good. I don't need to be involved. Even if it was a women's trip, I'm not sure I would want to go if that was the goal either.
So if y'all going to Jamaica, because where it is, y'all be fucking. Jamaica is y'all's Brazil. Y'all be fucking in Jamaica.
You mean theirs? Because I've been to Jamaica. That was not my goal.
They said y'all be getting smashed on them rafts. Like when they put that mud in y'all leg, they put that dick, they put that dick in next. Is that true?
It may be for some, but that's not my style.
Yeah,
I don't like strange in the country. I'm definitely not going out the country to get nothing strange.
that. So let me ask you this: my son is in college, and
Hmm.
there's this thing. I don't remember this when we was growing up. Maybe it's because my people didn't have money like that. And not a whole bunch of us was graduating college in my family. But there's this thing about graduation trip, like if your kid graduates college. So
Hmm.
guess where my son said he wants to go?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Oh gosh.
Brazil. And he was like, I want you and Uncle D to take me to Brazil. And I was like, that's cool. I always want to go to Brazil. Now, I've said on the show before, I don't pay for pussy. I didn't pay the light bill or phone bill or I didn't pay Junior's football fees before, right? But that leave it on the nightstand. I've never done that. That's not my thing. So I know that if I travel to Brazil, I'm really just traveling to Brazil for the culture and Tay, you traveled with me before. I don't really be on that type of time. But
Hmm.
I thought about it and I know my kid and I would I'm pretty confident that he's not on that type of time either. But I thought about the judgment that we would get if we were to go to Brazil. People would be like, "You took your son to Brazil?" Because they would probably think that me and him were both out there trying to get it in, and then I'll probably have to cuss a lot of people out for their judgment on some shit that if we do it, he is on that type of time, he have to do it on his own money. Because if I ain't paying for my pussy, I definitely ain't gonna pay for his pussy. So, what would you think if a guy took his son to Brazil on for a graduation trip? Would you be suspicious of what they was doing while they were there?
Depends on the guy.
Okay.
So, I think I told you, well, I don't know if I've said this. I had an old supervisor years ago who used to travel for Brazil, even for the condo over there. If he was taking his son, I'll be like, yeah, they they searching for something. But I don't know. Like I said, I think it depends on the guy and what I know of him. Because it's hard to know anybody 100%. But I think it depends on the guy. But I feel you on the fact that I do think most people think like you like you just talked about Jamaica for the ladies. I do think most people think when guys go to Brazil, that's the number one reason.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of. I think in these third world countries, I don't know if Brazil is considered third world, but Brazil, Dominican Republic, that sex trafficking That's really what they call it now. But back in the day, we just called it, good old prostitution. Um, it was kind of prevalent, right? And
Mhm.
a boy came out with the whole, it was it Essence or Ebony when he came out with the article. Oh, bitch made ass dude came out with the article about men traveling for sex and all that, and then it just put it on the radar for everybody. So anybody in
Mhm.
Brazil, they automatically got that type of suspicion put on them, like, oh, you went there to and truth be told, and people may take my man card for this, I do know guys that have traveled for that.
Mhm.
They have, right? But I just know how I get down, and I'm pretty confident how my son gets down. That's not the mission for why we would be going to Brazil,
Yeah.
you know, because you gotta. And it's hard enough teaching your kid about sex. It'd be even weird knowing that y'all are there both trying to chase some ass. I mean, I know some dudes who did that with their dads. I thought it was weird. And
Yeah.
clearly they did too, because when they told me that him and the dude was like, yeah, me and my dad be trying to set chicks out. Don't tell nobody though. And I was like, Dad, that's weird, bro. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying, because my dad was married to my mom, but even if he wasn't, I'm not really trying to go after chicks with my dad. Like, you serious?
Right. But I think um I don't think it's a like a common thing, but I do know that there are guys who will like take their son to like I don't even know if you call them brothels anymore, but to a sex club
Whole
or
house,
whatever.
a whole house.
Yeah, to the whole house, for their first time. Who was it? Who was the rapper who was
Boosie said that. Boosie said he
Boosie?
was kind of
Yeah.
strippers to come and get the boys right.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't hear about it much anymore, but I know back in the day when I was younger, I heard about that guys do that a lot. So I'm not sure that it's looked at as now trying to
You really
set a
heard
woman.
that? You really heard
Yes,
them doing that?
yes, yes, yes. Now trying to set a woman out with the both of y'all, that's something new. That's something I've never heard of. But like taking your
That's some
kid
weird.
out
That's some
now,
weirdo shit. Yeah, that's some weirdo shit.
yeah,
Guys that told me that they were some weirdos, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. But now I don't know if maybe I watched too many movies and I'm just remembering stuff from movies, but I do remember hearing that a lot when I was younger about guys taking their sons to places like that.
I certainly hope that that's a rumor and exaggerated, because if you are a dad that is about anything, you want your son to be responsible and you want to educate them, but there's definitely a line that you don't want to cross. With me and my children, I always wanted to have like open communication. Like, you can tell me anything. I'm not going to be mad. There may be some consequences, but I can't protect you if you don't tell me the truth. And
Right.
I, made sure that, even with my daughters, I'm sure it was uncomfortable with them, talking to me about sex, but I was able to give them like sound advice about relationships when they was having their little trials and tribulations in high school and all that. And I remember my son's mom used to think that I would encourage my son to have sex. Like, I was like proud, like, yeah, yeah, my son out here knocking him down. And I was always insulted by that, because there's so much that goes with sex when you are dealing with teenagers in terms of like their emotions and maturity, and especially with like boys, because if a boy gets his first little taste too soon, and then next thing you know, he's consumed about trying to conquer women and to make, get the next piece of ass or whatever, it becomes a problem. And if you a dad that's about anything, you know how to manage that. Like, I remember I tell people all the time, I didn't start being like halfway smart until I was like in my mid 30s. I didn't become what I would consider like wise to my late 30s. I remember I used to be one of those dudes like, damn, if I had a teacher that was trying to throw me some ass, shit, I wouldn't tell nobody. I'd be happy about it. And if my kid came across that situation, I'd dap him up. And then I realized, like, nah, that's predatory, and that could just put your kid in a position emotionally and mentally. that is all bad. So I really hope that that's exaggerated. Those guys that you heard about.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was it?
Um,
How was
so
it? You talked about you growing up in the church. Was there open communication with you when it comes to sex, or was it just don't do it?
no, actually, my mother was, I would say she was slightly different from what I got in church. Now, my mother she did teach abstinence and waiting till marriage, but she would she but the church usually teaches, well, back in the day, the church taught that sex is bad. Don't do it, keep your legs closed. And it was always kind of a taboo thing. But whereas the conversations I had with my mother, it was always reinforcing the fact that sex is beautiful, but it should be done in the right context. And that's why I said my mother was a little different than most of the other parents that I knew.
So I I gave my kids boatloads of condoms
Hmm.
because my thing is, and I said it in this exact way. I'm not encouraging you or endorsing you having sex at this age as teenagers, but I want you to protect yourself because number one, there's diseases out here, and number two, I'm not raising your kids and I'm not paying your fucking child support. So here's how you protect yourself, and here's what you need to do if you're going to be making these types of decisions. I didn't really have that. I learned from porn, uh, TV shows, movies, and older cousins, um, older guys in the neighborhood, and hit or miss, you get some good advice, but for the most part, it's shitty advice, and
Yeah.
you're learning through trial by error,
Yeah.
and that's not always a good thing. But my dad was a lot older when he had me. My dad was like 43 when he had me, and he didn't really know about raising kids. He just knew how to spoil them. So that wasn't a comfortable conversation, especially with having a dad that came from that generation. I don't think that's the boomer generation. He was maybe like the silent generation. I had old ass parents, so it wasn't a good conversation. I just had to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
definitely wasn't. I definitely wasn't learning like techniques. Like if you want to hit it, you know what I'm saying. You got to touch her right here. You got to do all that type of shit. It definitely wasn't trying to teach me how to like set chicks out and, and things like that.
well, that's a good thing. So I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know. So how do you teach or approach the subject of sex so that it's not so much of a learning curve? Is that the right way I want to put that?
Um, you just got to be candid about it. You do. You got to be candid. And some of the advice I got from older brothers in terms of like parenting, they were like, well, why don't you like watch a movie that kind of talks about the subject and then kind of have a discussion, go from there. Um, and that's how I approached it with my son. With my daughters, I was much more clinical, and I let my ex-wife at the time handle more of, hey, this is how you protect yourself. These are things you have to do because obviously I've never been a woman,
Mhm.
but it was more clinical with them in terms of how you protect yourself. And these are the type of games that guys may try to play. And this is how you not only protect yourself sexually from like potential diseases or pregnancy, but just protect yourself from the potential of violence as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are good points.
Yeah. So let's see what they got to say in the chat. Taz said, yeah, I mean, it all seems a bit irresponsible and careless to be out searching for ass with your son. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
my son has, is a cool kid. He's a cool dude. Like we have fun hanging with one another, but we not, yeah, we definitely not looking. If I'm looking at women that's in his age range, that's a problem. And if he's looking at women that are in my age range, that's a problem. Now maybe we can kind of meet in the middle, but still, that's weird. We're not doing that, Tad. It's irresponsible, like you said. Danielle said, my mom was a nurse practitioner and worked for an STD clinic and Metro AIDS division. She would bring those books home and condoms and show my friends and I how to use them and put them on. It was very embarrassing at the time. She later told me when I wasn't around. Man, she went deep. When I wasn't around, my friends asked her questions. So when folks came over, she taught them. Okay. The Angel asked me, Angel's my cousin, y'all. She said, "Did you talk to your brothers?" Hell no. No, I didn't respect what they had to say, Angel. But yeah.
Why didn't you respect what your brothers had to say? You're the youngest, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest by like 13 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say that's probably hard saying I didn't respect what they had to say. They really didn't make themselves available to be that type, to give that type of brotherly advice to me because it's such a big age difference. I think
Mhm.
had the age difference been a little bit less wide, then we probably would have had maybe a tighter relationship and that type of, hey man, this is what you need to do, or hey man, you messing up by doing that. That may have been there, but when there's such a huge age gap, like the relationships are a lot different.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you give advice to your little sister?
No, but we grew up in different states, so I
Oh,
wasn't even around at the well, at that time for her. And then I was,
and it
when
wasn't
she
like you had cell phones and social media and stuff, so you really couldn't like talk.
right.
Hey,
And then when my sister went through her teenage years, she was really one of those moody teenagers.
oh,
And
okay,
her attitude, I mean, she already had a quick attitude, but when she became a teenager,
yeah,
I love my sister, but there were times when I did not like her
I get
at
it.
that time, but I've always loved her.
Nah, I get it. And teenagers. I was talking to a friend of mine. She got two teenagers right now. She said they wearing her out. At one point, I had four teenagers in my house. And shit, I was tired when that was over with. I was like, man, this is killing me. All this, I had one who was everybody's favorite, but of course, she still did her little sneaky shit. Then I had the emo middle child. Then I had the dramatic baby girl, and then I had my son who was the gangster, not like criminal gangster, but just into everything. So
Mhm.
between all four of them, I had to deal with it all. Had to deal with it all. But yeah, I'm still gonna take my boy. I mean, when he walked that stage, we're gonna hit Brazil and fuck everybody who might judge. But if that's where he say he want to go, then that's where we gonna go. Now we
Yeah.
might we might have to take somebody else with us, like one of his aunties or something to make it look more wholesome. We take our social media pics, but if he want to go to Brazil, that's what we gonna do. That's what we gonna do. So Taz said, "Yo, my sex talk was a poster that my mom put on my bed when I came home from practice one day. Sex plus unprotected sex equals AIDS."
Oh, wow.
So did they have sex ed when you was in where you grew up?
Yeah, yeah. So starting in fifth grade, up through health class in high school.
I don't think we got sex ed until shoot. We didn't get sex ed until high school.
Yeah, fifth grade, fifth and sixth grade, it was well actually I don't remember sixth grade, but I know fifth grade it was just really body parts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't really sex. We didn't really get into that type of stuff until 'cause I know I had it in middle school too. I think middle school was still more of reproductive, like the technical and reproductive stuff. But I do remember my high school health teacher. I do remember her showing us the proper way to put on a condom or talking about it. I don't think she showed us. I remember her talking about it though.
I, I remember us having sex ed. I don't remember learning much of shit in sex ed though. You?
Actually, yeah, my high school one, she was good, but she was a young teacher though. And then she was also like I was on cheerleading squad. She was one of our sponsors, faculty advisors for a year or so. So she was one of them cooler teachers, if you want to say. So she didn't go in like she didn't get graphic with it, but she was good with it.
See, our sex ed teacher was the head football coach. So it's probably an uncomfortable discussion for him. And you and I are the same age, so I'm thinking we probably got some of the same knowledge. But you remember we grew up like when HIV and AIDS first like really hit the scene. And
Yeah.
Magic made his announcement. Yeah, I cried. That was my favorite basketball player, and because I thought Magic gonna be gone within a year. And
Yeah, he's mine too.
here we are 30 some years later, and he's still here alive and thriving. But you remember when they used to talk about, maybe it's just where I was at, they was talking about how AIDS came from monkeys. And they were like, there was this guy from Canada, this gay dude from Canada. His name was Gaten Duges. Y'all can Google it. They was like Gaten Duges. He was patient zero. They said he was the guy that came and brought AIDS to the US and all this old shit. And it's just a mess now. But real talk, I think it was a death sentence back when it first came out. Now, with the medicine that they have, I saw a commercial where they was like, all you gotta do is take one pill twice a month and you good.
Yeah. I didn't know it was
I
twice a
still don't want it, but
right.
you remember back then, they was like, you had to take the cocktail, and it was all these different pills you had to take and how
Mhm.
pills affected your body. I literally saw a commercial tell you where they was just like, you can take this pill twice a month and you good.
I've never heard that one. I've heard of I think it's PrEP where you have to take it every day.
So there's the prep that keeps you from getting it.
Yeah.
This one is what I saw the commercial is if you have it, but you take this pill and it suppresses your shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
because like between HIV and herpes, um, people are out here taking a lot of risks. I just
Yeah.
saw that fool Antonio Brown on the some talk show with the aunties. I can't remember the ladies' names, but it's some hood shit. And he was talking about how basically he if he can't hit it with a condom, then he doesn't consider him having sex with you. So basically, if he haven't hit it raw, then y'all didn't have sex.
Oh
And
wow. Okay.
people are like, that's why so many folks have diseases now.
Yeah.
Or are still operating in that mind with that mindset.
Condom sex is better sex anyways.
You will never convince me of that, Shante. I almost said the government. Would never convince me of that. That, my friend, is because you are selfish. That's why you say that. That's why you say
Why
that.
does that make me selfish?
Because condom sex lasts longer because you don't feel this shit. I got listen. I've had I've had some good condom sex. But you really gotta set the scene. You got to be on some Joe, let's make love scene. You gotta really have everything in place for that at least for me. Now there may be some guys who's like, hey, I'm just trying to get a nut and they enjoying condom sex, but nah, man. On your own on that. You on that. Let's see what they got to say in the chat before we wrap it up. Taz said middle school was about the extent in health class, just reproductive. And then he says, crazy how many commercials they have about now, not like it's not a big deal, but those side effects are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just best not to have it. Um, you know, there's a lot of things that can be cured. There's things that are manageable, but it's just best if you can to protect yourself and wrap it before you tap it.
Exactly.
You got a would you or
I
would
don't have a nasty or normal, or would you, wouldn't you? I'm sorry.
not today. All right, that's good.
Oh, since we were talking about strip clubs earlier, um, would you have sex in the boom boom room? Champagne room, whatever they call it.
First of all, there's no sex in the champagne room. But I've been to strip clubs where they definitely have sex in the champagne room, and those are strip clubs slash hoe houses.
Yeah.
And no, because I told you I don't pay for sex. I don't pay for sex, and There was one time there was some strippers. Like when I lived in Houston, I was really big on the strip club scene, and I made friends with them. And it was just one chick, we was cool, and we talked about going all the way with it. But nah, I was too scary. I was too scary, you know. Yeah. I'm a big mental person. So if I gotta think about, uh the risk involved, it's gonna make me be flaccid. I got to think that I'm all good to go.
I get
And you can't kiss a prostitute.
it. You could if you want to, but I mean, would you want to?
Do prostitutes kiss?
I don't know. I've never been one. I don't know any.
I never been one. Are you above it?
Yes. Prostitution? Yes.
I'm not. If it's a woman, hey, I got a kid in college, you know what I'm saying? And groceries is high in Dallas. So if a woman wants to pay me for some of this, she can have it for sure. I'm not above it, at all, at all. But nah, being able to tongue kiss, that's part of my whole deal. So it's gonna be hard for me.
Okay.
Taz said, "You pay your money, you get what you want, right?" Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Taz, because I ain't never done it, but I don't think I don't think prostitutes kiss though. I don't think. I think that's kind of like they save that for their real relationships. Like, there's got to be a limit. Like,
Mhm.
everybody can have the pussy in the booty hole and head and all that shit, but I only kiss my man.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
I
Would,
guess.
would you date a prostitute
No.
if he only slept with women? Would you date him?
No. No.
Would you date a dude that been with men?
We talked about
Okay,
this.
don't answer. No, 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 don't answer
No,
that.
we talked about it before on the podcast. And I was saying, like, at that moment, when I thought about it at that exact moment, I was like, I'd consider it.
Hmm. Tad asked, "Would you date a stripper?" At this age, Tad, I probably would. I probably would. Um, how seriously the dating would be, that's probably the question. Like, would I have fun with her? Will we go out and kick it and all those type of things? Because just because a girl's a stripper don't mean she a hoe.
True.
There's some it's just about business and they're not having sex. Now there's some that are out there. Now, if she's a stripper who is getting drunk every night and on coke and doing all that type of shit, living reckless, I mean, I probably kick it with her once or twice. But if she was just out here, she's trying to knock out her goals or whatever, hell yeah. I mean, what's the difference between her being stripper? Well, I guess stripper, you getting touched. But like, what if she had an OnlyFans? She had an OnlyFans and the world is saying her shit. Would you, I mean, would you date somebody like that? I would. I'd be taking a goddamn picture. We getting commission. Where my commission?
Yeah, the OnlyFans thing wouldn't bother me. Stripper, he had to be a former stripper. I wouldn't date somebody who was currently a stripper because I can't say I witnessed it because I didn't witness it, but I've heard about stuff that happened after parties I had been to, and then I've heard all the time that the male strippers, they don't need a whole house because the women are usually offering it to them after the parties. So
You don't watch too many dancing bear scenes.
dancing bear, what's that?
Oh, it's a porn category. Look it up.
Oh no, no, I'm talking about like in real life. I remember one party we had for a friend of mine. This was years ago. We were in our 20s because I think she had turned 21, and I was told like after that when the party ended, her and the stripper got together. So I mean, and that's not the only story I know. Like I've heard that a lot. The male strippers be getting it, and they don't have to say be getting it, and they don't have to be in a whorehouse to do it because again it's usually thrown at them. So a current stripper, no. A former stripper, I could.
Hmm, okay. You wouldn't be his manager.
That's a
You said
I
you said you like the boy and shit. You get some money and you get your little kink satisfied.
oh gosh.
Anyway, tell them where they can find this thing.
You can reach us at Conversate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Check out our past episodes. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.